The winter of 2027 will be remembered as a season of profound failure, a time when the nation's confidence in its own resilience was truly tested and found wanting. Relentless rains battered the land for weeks, turning the Somerset levels and Cumbria's valleys into a vast, unbroken expanse of floodwater. This was not a freak event, but an outcome long predicted by scientists and local communities, an outcome that should have been met with preparation, not surprise. Over the past decade, billions have been spent on new defenses, sleek barriers, reinforced riverbanks, and ambitious engineering projects, each promising safety and security for homes, businesses, and entire communities. Yet, as rescue boats navigated village high streets and emergency workers struggled through submerged towns, it became clear that these promises had not been kept. The sight was not just one of tragedy, but of betrayal, a stark reminder of the gap between words and action. In Somerset, once fertile farmland disappeared beneath an inland sea. In Cumbria, towns like Keswick and Cockermouth, already scarred by past floods, were overwhelmed yet again, their residents left to face the devastation once more. State-of-the-art defenses were breached, emergency services stretched to the breaking point, and the scale of inundation was unlike anything seen before in modern Britain. The disaster laid bare a catastrophic gap between political promises and the harsh reality on the ground. Communities demanded answers, and trust in leadership was shaken. Years of funding shortfalls, neglected maintenance, and a dangerous undersuspicion of climate risks had created the perfect storm, one that no amount of last-minute effort could hold back. The floods of 2027 were not just natural disasters, they were the result of human decisions, of warnings ignored, corners cut, and communities left exposed to the rising tide. In the years before 2027, the public was reassured by record government spending on flood defenses. News headlines celebrated ambitious new projects, and government officials made frequent appearances at construction sites, promising a safer future for vulnerable communities. Over $10 billion was pledged, with high-profile projects like the Jaywick seawall and hundreds of others nationwide. These massive investments were showcased as symbols of progress and protection, with politicians eager to highlight each new milestone. These visible investments created a powerful illusion, one that suggested engineering alone could guarantee safety. People felt reassured, believing that technology and concrete could hold back the worst nature had to offer. Politicians pointed to new walls as proof of commitment, and communities believed the threat was finally under control. Ribbon-cutting ceremonies became moments of celebration, reinforcing the sense that the danger had been conquered. But this focus on construction masked deeper vulnerabilities. Beneath the surface, critical issues were overlooked, and the true complexity of flood risk was underestimated. Maintenance, long-term planning, and the realities of a changing climate were neglected. As the climate crisis accelerated, these oversights became more dangerous, leaving communities exposed in ways few realized. The illusion of security bred complacency, while the foundations of our defenses quietly eroded. People went about their lives, unaware that the very barriers they trusted were slowly failing. When the floods came, the cracks in the system were brutally exposed. The water surged past barriers, overwhelming towns and villages that had believed themselves protected. The nation learned, in the harshest way possible, that grand projects alone cannot protect against nature's growing fury. True security demands vigilance, adaptation, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. The catastrophic failure of Somerset and Cumbria's flood defenses in 2027 didn't come out of nowhere. There were clear warning signs that went unheeded for years. Back in 2024, the Colne Barrier in Essex was mistakenly left open during a powerful tidal surge. This single operational error allowed the river to pour into Rowhedge, flooding homes and businesses in a matter of hours. The aftermath was chaotic. Residents scrambled to safety, emergency crews worked through the night, and the community was left to pick up the pieces. This incident exposed a critical truth. Even the most advanced infrastructure is only as reliable as its weakest link, whether that's a person, a process, or a piece of machinery. Human error, overlooked maintenance, and the sheer complexity of these systems can undermine millions of pounds in investment, leaving communities vulnerable. It's not just about building barriers, it's about ensuring they work when they're needed most. Despite new funding for repairs and upgrades, the national focus remained on constructing new defenses, rather than maintaining or properly operating the ones already in place. When the devastating storms of 2027 struck, the same pattern repeated. Pumps failed, gates jammed, and sensors malfunctioned at the worst possible moments. New defenses, though impressive, were often outflanked by neglected older systems that couldn't withstand the pressure. Each small failure triggered another, creating a domino effect that turned what could have been manageable floods into a full-blown catastrophe. The hard lessons from the Calm Barrier were ignored, and the consequences echoed across the country as disaster unfolded on a national scale. In the end, the true cost of neglecting operations and maintenance was paid not just in money, but in flooded homes, lost memories, and shattered lives. Behind the government's spending headlines was a damaging funding gap. The $4.2 billion announced in 2025 fell $300 million short of expert recommendations, leading to cancelled projects and deferred maintenance. Many communities waited as their protections degraded. Worse, no funding was committed beyond 2026, crippling long-term planning. Simultaneously, DEFRA's operational budget was cut, undermining the upkeep of existing defenses. The result, new assets were built while older ones crumbled. This two-tier system left many areas exposed, especially when record rainfall arrived. The floodwaters exploited every neglected weak point, rendering new defenses ineffective. Even before the floods, insurers warned that underfunded defenses would make some areas uninsurable. Without sustained investment, the risk became too high for affordable coverage. The flood re-scheme was only a temporary fix, not a permanent solution. After the 2027 floods, premiums soared and many businesses lost coverage entirely. Residents faced financial ruin, unable to insure, sell, or rebuild their homes. Economic recovery stalled as investors avoided high-risk, uninsurable regions. The social fabric frayed as families lost everything and communities struggled to recover. The insurance crisis revealed the true cost of failing to build resilience. The 2020 den pine sint fine sodi. The 27 floods were more than statistics. They were a human tragedy. Families lost homes, memories, and peace of mind as floodwaters destroyed everything. In Somerset, farmland was ruined. In Cumbria, tourism and local businesses were devastated. The emotional toll was immense, with cherished belongings and livelihoods swept away. Trust in authorities collapsed, replaced by anger and resignation. Recovery was slow and painful, with disputes over insurance and the stress of temporary living. Mental health issues surged as communities struggled to cope. Acts of neighborly support were overshadowed by long-term strain and uncertainty. The floods left deep wounds, both visible and invisible, across Somerset and Cumbria. The disaster's legacy was a profound loss of trust and security. The UK's over-reliance on hard defences was its undoing in 2027. Maintenance was neglected, with budget cuts leaving older systems vulnerable. Experts stressed the need for regular upkeep, but resources were lacking. Household-level adaptation, like property flood resilience, was underfunded and underpromoted. Natural flood management, using nature to slow water, remained a niche effort, not a national priority. The focus stayed on urban barriers, ignoring upstream solutions. When the floods came, neglected maintenance and missed opportunities compounded the disaster. True resilience requires a holistic, multi-layered approach, not just concrete walls. The 2020 Northern Standard Nixon Androids to nights. Disaster was rooted in a fatal underestimation of climate change's speed and power. Flood defenses were built for outdated weather patterns, not the new extremes. Atmospheric rivers brought unprecedented rainfall, overwhelming systems designed for the past. Government plans lagged behind scientific warnings and minimum recommendations. Barriers were overtopped, floodplains filled faster than models predicted. The lesson: climate change is a present danger, not a distant threat. Building for yesterday's storms guarantees tomorrow's failures. The 2027 floods forced the nation to confront the true scale of the challenge. The 2027 floods must be a turning point for the UK. We must break the cycle of disaster and inadequate response. True resilience means funding based on science, not politics, and planning for the long term. Investment in property flood resilience and natural flood management must become mainstream. Maintenance budgets must be protected, and every part of the system treated as critical infrastructure. Communities need better warnings, involvement in planning, and support to adapt. The tragedy of 2027 was born of complacency and ignored warnings. To honor what was lost, we must build a future where our communities are truly resilient and safe.